so much, Cindy, and hello, Cincinnati. It is amazing, amazing to be here, and while I was on the plane on my way over, I was reflecting on the fact that I've been in Ohio. This is my 8th trip in a little over 2 years, so I love, love, love this state, and it's always great to be back with all of you. In 18 days, we are going to win Ohio. And we're going to win 4 more years for the people's president, my father, Donald J. Trump. Today, I just want to begin by thanking all of you from the bottom of my heart for the outpouring of prayers and support for my father, the First Lady, my brother Barron. It has been truly beautiful and very moving and felt by our whole family. As many of you may have noticed, if you were watching what I call the debate last night, some may call it a town hall. I think it was more of a debate with the moderator. But as you may have noticed, thank God, the president is feeling very well and is rather energized. Always. He really is amazing. I spoke with him on the phone as I was driving over here, and he said to send his love and his greetings to all of you and his gratitude to the great people of Ohio. So, directly from the 45th President of the United States. In recent days, our entire nation, and frankly the world, have been reminded of a truth that I've known my entire life. My father is a fighter, and he'll never stop fighting for you. The people of Ohio finally have a president who's going to go to the mat for you, for your families, for your jobs, and for your future. He's standing up for the auto workers and the steel workers, the farmers and the families who sacrifice so much to give your children a great life. Since the day he took the oath of office, my father has taken on the special interests in Washington. I see it every single day, and stood up to the mainstream media. And unlike politicians, when my father makes a promise, he keeps it. In fact, my brothers and I joke that he has kept more promises than he's actually made, which is true. In less than 4 years, our president has rebuilt the United States military, secured America's borders, defeated the ISIS caliphate, fostered peace in the Middle East, delivered historic tax and regulatory cuts, fixed our broken trade deals, and brought jobs back to America and back to Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump has done more for Ohio in 47 months than Joe Biden has done in 47 years. It's true. This president has built the greatest economy in American history and now is leading the greatest American comeback. We have added a historic 11.4 million jobs in the last 5 months. Here in Ohio, through great programs like the Paycheck Protection Program, he has helped to save over 1.9 million jobs. Extraordinary. To fight this virus, our president brought together government and the private sector to launch the largest industrial mobilization since World War II. Thanks to America's medical genius, the mortality rate has declined by 85% since April. The president's early and aggressive action to stop travel from China and Europe saved millions of lives. Through Operation Warp Speed, our scientists are on track to deliver a safe and effective vaccine before the end of the year. I have seen him move mountains to streamline bureaucracy to make sure this vaccine is delivered safely, effectively, and not having compromised anything in the process. It's amazing. In 6 months, he has done, in terms of advancing development of this vaccine, what hadn't been done or couldn't be done for 6 to 7 years. It's extraordinary. We have built up supplies, testing, and treatments, and we are protecting the vulnerable while healthy Americans safely go back to work and school. Joe Biden said he would shut down our entire economy. But to what end? Endless lockdowns are not a strategy. The Republican Party is the party of safe reopening. So important. Time and time again, I've seen my father's relentless determination to deliver for you, the American people. I remember one evening in early February of 2018, we were in the Oval Office with my father's top economic advisors, and the president was pushing to keep his promise to renegotiate the bad trade deals that had gutted millions of middle-class jobs. Most of the advisors around the table argued that the economy was so strong following our historic tax and regulatory cuts that it just didn't make sense to rock the boat. After the meeting, as I walked with my father back to the residence, he turned to me, and I'll never forget it, he turned to me and said, "You know the reason this has never been done before is because our leaders haven't had the guts. When the economy is good, they settle for good, and when it's bad, they don't have the will or ability, so they kick the can until it's someone else's problem." It's true. Ohio knows this. He was right. If my father didn't take on these fights, no one would. I remember each time he was updated on the progress of the new trade deal with Mexico and Canada, and I'd really remember this because my husband was very involved and would come home and tell me every single time. My father would say to Jared and to our trade advisor every single time, "Don't let down those dairy farmers I met in Wisconsin, and don't let down those auto workers I met in Michigan and Ohio. I don't want them to like this deal. I want them to love it." Trade, politics, it's about people. In the months that followed, President Trump refused to settle for a good deal. He wanted a great deal, and that's ultimately exactly what we got. I've noticed now that Joe Biden recently likes to plagiarize our president's Made in America agenda, but he supported every disastrous trade deal that shipped good-paying Ohio jobs overseas. After then-Senator Biden voted for NAFTA and China's entry into the World Trade Organization, Ohio lost 1 in 3 manufacturing jobs, 2 out of 3 iron and steel mill jobs, and half of its auto jobs. Biden, as my father likes to say, should not be demanding the support of America's workers. He should be begging for their forgiveness. It's President Trump who is advancing the American values of work and family. Working alongside my father, we've secured the largest ever increase for childcare funding, giving more than 800,000 low-income families great childcare at a cost they can afford. As part of Republican tax cuts, in 2019 alone, our child tax credit put over $2,000 into the pockets of more than 40 million American families. Democrat politicians recently introduced a plan to increase the child tax credit. Yet when I was fighting on the Hill less than 3 years ago at the president's direction to get Congress to double the child tax credit, not a single Democrat voted to pass the law. We got it done anyway. Thank you. Joe Biden has been in the swamp a long time. In fact, in 1981, 2 months before I was born, then Senator Joe Biden wrote an op-ed opposing this very same child tax credit that he's now saying he wants to expand. And he said, I quote, "Expanding it would subsidize the deterioration of the family." Joe Biden has further pledged to raise taxes on American working families by $4 trillion. We can't and won't let it happen. In a second term, President Trump will cut taxes again, and he will create 10 million jobs in 10 months. The fact is that President Trump has created the most inclusive economy in the history of our country. Through our pledge to America's workers, we've called upon the private sector to hire and train 16 million Americans for the jobs of today and the careers of tomorrow. In a second term, we will provide vocational education to every high school student in America and school choice to every single parent. So important. During President Trump's first 3.5 years in office, 72% of all jobs went to Americans who had been out of the workforce, on the sidelines, marginalized. That's how strong the economy was. 72% of jobs. It's extraordinary. While Democrats are focused on making Americans dependent on Washington, we are focused on liberating each individual and freeing them to thrive. Smart policy generates capacity, not reliance. To revitalize neglected communities, President Trump created nearly 9,000 opportunity zones. You've heard him talk about these. He's very proud of this with Senator Tim Scott. There are 320 opportunity zones right here in Ohio. Opportunity zones are lifting up Americans like Army veteran Tony Rankins. Tony previously struggled with drug addiction and lost his job and his home. Then Tony became a skilled carpenter through our Investments Off the Street program. Now, Tony renovates buildings, distressed buildings, in an opportunity zone right here in Cincinnati. Amazing. He was my father's guest at the State of the Union, where I was delighted to be able to sit next to him, and I am honored that Tony and his wife Sheila are with us today. Please stand up. Amazing, Tony. You really inspire us all, and you remind us of the Ohio motto, "With God, all things are possible." Thank you. As many of you know, a lot of the issues my father has championed are not historically Republican priorities. Yet where Washington chooses sides, our president chooses common sense. Where politicians choose party, our president chooses people. Since the day he took the oath of office, I've watched my father take on the failed policies of the past and do what no leader had done before. President Trump rectified the disparities of the 1994 Biden crime bill. So important, criminal justice reform, the most sweeping reform in a generation. Joe Biden has been one of the biggest and longest-standing champions of Big Pharma, allowing them to rip off millions of American patients. My father is beholden to no one other than you, the American people. Big Pharma is one example. The president took early action to dramatically cut the cost of prescription drugs, despite, maybe because he was fielding so many angry calls from CEOs of every major pharmaceutical company. Now, when we watch TV and we see the attack ads paid for by Big Pharma, my dad smiles. He looks at me and says, "You know we're doing something right when they're hitting us this hard." Commercial after commercial after commercial. He loves it. Bring it on. He's so right. Don't believe their lies. President Trump puts America first always, and he will fight always to protect Social Security, Medicare, and citizens with pre-existing conditions. Always. Our president has also achieved the unthinkable: energy independence. Imagine 2 decades ago saying that. The United States is now a net exporter of oil and natural gas, and we are no longer dependent on foreign nations. In addition to being about jobs, it's about security, folks. So important, energy independence. But while growing American jobs, he's also preserving American lands. In August, our president, and you probably have not read about this, but our president signed into law the most sweeping conservation legislation since Theodore Roosevelt created our national park system, the Great American Outdoors Act. We are restoring our cherished national parks, America first, like Ohio's own Cuyahoga Valley. My father is not afraid of questioning old conventions and finding bold solutions to care for hardworking Americans. At the onset of the pandemic, our president saw that American crops were going to waste while lines at food banks across the nation stretched around the block. Many of these people had never had to ask for food before. It was a quick onset of this plague. Immediately, he directed me to find a way to get this nutritious food, fresh fruit and vegetables, meat and dairy, from our incredible farms into the hands of the families who needed it the most. Within a matter of days, we launched the wildly successful Farmers to Family Food Box program, which has now delivered over 100 million meals from America's small farmers into the hands of American families. Amazing. Exactly right. The faith community was extraordinary. They mobilized in how they got those boxes out. They helped the farmers who had their supply chains disruptions, whether restaurants closed, and helped the families who needed the food. Yes, you're right. Thanks to the faith-based community. Thank you. God bless you. To protect the most vulnerable among us, I've had the honor to work alongside our president as he signed into law 9 pieces of legislation to combat human trafficking in the United States. This is an issue that wasn't even talked about by politicians before this president took office. Not even talked about. You know about this here in Ohio, as just weeks ago in northern Ohio, federal, state, and local law enforcement successfully rescued 35 missing and endangered children through Operation Safety Net. Amazing. Thank you, law enforcement. And we will not rest until every child in America is safe and we stamp out this evil once and for all. So important. To change the paradigm in the Middle East, President Trump took a fresh approach. I was there and heard foreign leaders beg him not to move the American embassy to Jerusalem. Yet he delivered on a promise also made yet unfulfilled by past presidents because it was the right thing to do. Defying all expectations just last month, he rewrote history again by making 2 peace agreements in the Middle East, the biggest breakthrough in a quarter of a century. Peace is peace. It's amazing. It's what the world should strive for. But President Trump has also worked to achieve peace in the Middle East so that the United States can finally stop the endless foreign wars and bring home our soldiers, our sailors, our airmen, and our Marines. Thousands have already returned. And the president recently directed that our remaining troops in Afghanistan should be home by Christmas. For the first time in a long time, we have a president who's called out Washington's hypocrisy, and they hate him for it. The legendary Winston Churchill once said, "It was the nation that had the lion's heart. I had the luck to give the roar." Doesn't this remind you of our president and our movement? He has truly given us the roar. Here in America, at this critical hour, we the people choose President Donald J. Trump. My father is so unapologetic about his beliefs that he's caused me and countless Americans to take a hard look at our own convictions and ask ourselves, what do we stand for? What kind of America do we want to leave for our children? I'm more certain than ever before that we want a future where our kids can believe in American greatness. We want a society where every child can live in a safe community and go to a great school of their choice. We want a culture where differences of opinion and debate are encouraged, not canceled. Where law enforcement is respected. You could stand for that. Thank you. Where our country's rich diversity is celebrated and where people of all backgrounds, races, genders, and creeds have the chance to achieve their God-given potential. This is the future my father is working to build each and every day. Washington has not changed Donald Trump. Donald Trump has changed Washington. America does not need another empty vessel who will do whatever the media and the fringe of his party demands. Now, more than ever, America needs 4 more years of a warrior in the White House. My father fights so hard for each of us every day, and now we have a chance to fight for him and to fight for this country. With your help, with your voice, and with your vote, on November 3rd, we will win another historic victory, and together we will make America great again. Thank you, Ohio, and God bless America.
And if you need to know while I'm still standing, you just fade.